Hello, Internet! I hope you've prepared your headsets and your life, and that will is written because, boy, you are going to want to die after this today.
Guaranteed to drive people off the show.
Hey, I barely get any people early on anyway. They all come like 5 minutes in. We're only 4 minutes in. Anyway, I'm SneakyDevil. We're joined today by Atin and Kilm, aka Cruel Rune. Because Max isn't here. And this is Fanfiction Theater 9001. So, let's get...
all you staunch patriots, as soon as the other American shows up, we'll stop outsourcing.
Indeed. I'm on time today. It's a miracle. Hey, Chrysanthemum, how about that? It's a miracle you're about to wish didn't happen. Because this is hybrid in a yokai world. This is the Bleach D times D crossover we had covered quite a few weeks ago, actually. Kind of forgot about the whole Tuesday thing. So, meme review, I guess. It was a reference to PewDiePie, and you probably no one here watches him.
Sad. No one cared.
Yeah. So, as a reminder, this is powerless Ichigo who ends up in Kyoto. Right, so this is the really cheap knockoff story of Do Me Wrong.
Yeah.
Let's see what the fuck was happening here. Okay, so blah blah blah. I'm leaving chat. Don't stop me. We aren't stopping you. Present day.
Right.
Blah blah blah. Groceries. Oh wow. Oh right. In this story, Ichigo has several kajillion dollars because he killed Hollows and was for some reason paid for it in yen.
Was there any game that might prove this theory?
Any what?
You know, like in some games, when you kill monsters, you get money, right?
Right.
And a lot of these games are proven to be canon. And Bleach has a lot of spin-offs that eventually Tite Kubo said were canon, i.e. the movies, stuff like that. So it's not really very, it's not really a very...
It's just really weird that I mean, I guess he could probably be basing it off one of the games. I wouldn't know. I don't play the games.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there were games.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with every Persona fic written ever. So in Persona, you get money after you beat every shadow. Except in the anime, you don't. But in the games, you do. So everybody, whoever writes a Persona fic, always imagines, oh yeah, my main character is flush as fuck.
Indeed. Anyway, so blah blah blah.
No, that's not how that works.
Blah blah blah. Jobs. Blah blah blah. Anger. Oh right. So this is the story in which Ichigo.
Side note relating to monsters dropping money. Lately, D&D has been like, yeah, most monsters don't have money on them. Like, congratulations, you murdered 10 kobolds. You might find 2 silver if you're lucky.
But then they have all their weaponry and all that stuff which can be sold, right?
But you can sell that, but you don't get money from that.
No, yeah.
Alright, you fucks. Anyway, so this is the story in which Ichigo beats up a bunch of thugs who were, for some reason, completely human, sort of, ish, maybe? A bunch of thugs kidnapping a little girl, the little girl who happens to be the princess of the yokai.
Right.
It seems like just a bunch of random thugs trying to kidnap this little girl, and she just happened to be the yokai princess. And
is this Yakuza? This sounds like Yakuza.
Yeah, basically it's Yakuza. Ichigo beats them all up, and then the mom shows up, and goes, "Hey, thank you." Blah blah blah. Oh, then he passes out from using his spiritual energy that just returned to him, and they decide to bring him back to the castle she lives in.
Using the thing that has been the whole reason his friends have ditched him for the past 5 years, and he doesn't immediately wake up and go, "I should go home now."
Well, I mean, I wouldn't.
True. But Ichigo's a better person.
Yeah, I know, but really, honestly, look at it this way. So you're friends with these people for years. You get powers, they get powers, you kill supernatural shit, you fucking save the world, but you lose your powers in the process. And then your friends are like, hey, I know you just lost your powers in the process, but we'll still be friends. I'm just kidding. Fuck yourself. I'm gonna go kill cool shit and leave you behind and not talk to you ever again.
See, now I know how that happened, but there was a good reason for them doing that.
In
they
story?
wanted him. Yeah, in the story, in the real story,
Well, yeah, I know in the real story there was a reason for that. I'm talking about in this story where the friends were just like, lol, you don't have powers anymore, we ain't talking to you.
Oh, wait, why?
Because the author wants to set up character conflict.
Honestly, I mean, that's what the guy in Do Me Wrong also did. But he did it much better, but hey.
Yeah, but he made it seem like they weren't cardboard cutouts.
Now, if only he would update.
Yeah, that's a pretty fucking dead story. Anyway, so blah blah blah, big reveal, the old man was actually the Quincy Powers, blah blah blah, I'm your Zangetsu, and I'm the Hollow, blah blah blah, accept me, okay, I'll accept you, blah blah blah. Where am I? You're here, in this place, what sort of thing are you? I'm a Shinigami, blah blah. Oh no, I've missed job interviews. Can you be my daughter's bodyguard? Sure. Blah blah blah.
Hey, I just met you and this is crazy. Will you guard my baby?
I mean,
I see no problems here.
This is basically what's happening here. Aren't you glad I'm skipping through this?
Oh, also, you're completely, I don't really think you need a job because you have, like, giant piles of money.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about that part. Is, hey, I have several fuck-off $1 billion.
See, now,
I need to get a grocery job. That's
thing
what I'm
to
gonna
be said
do.
about that, Sneaky. There's a thing to be said about that. Because if you notice, most people who grow old, let's say, after retiring, they need to get something to do, right? Because just sitting at home.
Yes, that's true, but that's typically because those people made their fortune by doing as much as they possibly could when they were younger.
Which is what pretty much this guy has had Ichigo do. He
Okay,
kills people.
Yeah,
right?
but like
But
he
it
beat
has
up
to be presented
hollows
well,
and
right?
shit. Like
It has to be presented well, right? It has to be
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, basically, ABCD led to me basically retiring. There's nothing more for me. This was literally all I knew in my life. So what the fuck do I do now?
Okay, yeah, but still.
It's not set up
Steve,
right.
I'll say this: like, if I won the lottery, one of the first things I would do is get a job at like a fast food place or something, so that I could be the guy who works there who says whatever he wants to the customers.
I get fired immediately.
But who cares?
That's the thing. The entire
at
thing
that
of-
point, at that point, you only win. Either you get more money, or you get to tell that one horrible person exactly how terrible a person they are.
Anyway, so blah
Yes.
blah blah. Don't hurt yourself so much. I need my clothes. Go investigate Ichigo. Blah blah blah. Behave. Blah blah blah. Is he awake? And blah blah blah. Apparently he's a Shinigami. Ichigo, do you know who he is? Yep, I know who he is. Blah blah. Blah 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 blah. He lost his powers. How does he have them back? Oh, I won't question it. I mean, that's fair enough. You just hired the guy to be a bodyguard for your daughter, and you're like, oh wow, I thought I was hiring a competent thug. Instead, I got Superman.
You're
He
not
got a
gonna be
literal
ups-
death guard.
You're not going to be upset in that situation.
No, really, you're not.
I mean, you just want to jack up his pay grades because, if somebody else has more.
Okay, so that reminds me. Okay, that's why we said we would read more of this story, because it's like it's not awful. It's just there's so much to comment on, but it's not bad. It's just B grade. Do me wrong.
Yeah. Hey, let's look for D grade Do Me Wrong.
I mean, we've seen plenty of D grade. Do me wrongs.
That's what I said. You set something up, you set something popular, and everybody's gonna try to take a piece of the pie.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Anyway, so let's hit up chapter 2 now that everyone's caught the fuck up. It was nearly 9 a.m. in Kyoto. The sun had risen well above the horizon, casting the shadows of skyscrapers upon the streets. Suddenly, a figure stepped out forth from the darkness, his body laden with 3 large bags containing all of his belongings. The sunlight beamed down upon his tired-looking, scowling face. Need some comments there, my dude. Illuminating his orange locks of hair. With one hand, he brought up a cup of coffee he had bought a few blocks back to his lips, taking a sip of the warm beverage. I think this author's suffering just mildly from too much action in one sentence.
Yeah, and he's carrying a lot of bags, walking, scowling, holding a coffee, and drinking it. How many hands does he have? What is he fucking Asura?
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just a problem I notice with some authors, and where they're like, all right, in this one sentence, we're going to talk about his coffee, talk about where he bought it, talk about him drinking it, and then talking about, you know, the sun shining down on his head, all in the same sentence, basically. It's like, you gotta split that up a bit. He rounded another corner, his destination now in sight. The young man deposited the now empty cup. Why is it now? I mean, you were sipping it, not gulping it. So why is it now empty?
Because he bought it quite a while back, apparently.
A few blocks back. Like, who the fuck drinks coffee that fast?
Me?
Really?
Yeah,
He's an
I mean,
octopus. Hi, Sean.
That's
Thank you for your
very-
intellectual compensation.
What the
But
hell
think
are we
about it this way,
back
right?
to?
You buy a coffee a few blocks back, you might as well have finished it. Maybe he bought like a cappuccino, who knows?
I mean, if it's a cappuccino, yeah, but I mean, like a fucking cup of coffee. I don't know, like how small is this cup of coffee we're talking about here?
Also, did he just pick up a cup and walk off?
He
And
bought
those
it.
things are bone China, they're not cheap.
What the hell is going on, you two?
What?
I come back and you're talking about coffee.
Well, hot coffee
Well,
situations, don't you know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Rude.
like that's ever stopped me before.
No,
Well
Kill,
done.
Kill
Well
gets
done.
the joke.
We've still not done it though.
We gotta find a good moment for it.
Yes.
Blah, 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 garbage bins. Approach the guards posted in front of the massive looking gate. They were immediately on edge as he approached, due to the recent event. On edge as he... The dude's... Look, if I
What?
just had a kidnapping attempt, a slow-moving man carrying 3 heavy bags walking towards the gate, I don't think he's going to be doing any sort of kung fu moves right off the bat.
I mean, it's the setup to a Jackie Chan movie. I use the 3 bags to fight
it's
off.
a setup to a Jackie Chan movie. All right, fine. But like, here's the situation, though. Either this is a place that normal people can see, which is unlikely because D times Dverse really likes hiding all their shit. If so, then they should be used to people passing by or walking towards the gate to ask what the fuck this is.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? They hide
Or
everything in plain sight.
B-
Yes, it would be a normal thing.
Or B, it is a hidden place, and therefore the guard should be fully aware of the new bodyguard to the princess.
Now, call me crazy, but I feel like you may want to inform your security guards that there's a new guy.
Yeah, it's just
That's
mildly
sneaky.
intelligent.
You were a security guard. Tell me, was it standard procedure to inform the security guards when there was a new guy?
Okay, I mean, yeah, obviously, but it's like right here. Halt, state your name and business in the temple. The left guard on the left said, his tone intimidating to most. That's
Yeah,
not
but-
needed.
Sneaky, think about it this way, right?
That's poor word.
Do they have like a photo or like a CV of the guy to recognize him from?
Okay, I'm pretty sure if you're like, alright, he's Japanese, right? Tall,
Yeah.
and orange hair. Okay, that's a pretty out there description for a Japanese person.
But think about it this way, right? The description would have probably gone from Yasaka through 100 yokai till it reached the guards out front. So you can give this one a little pass, because I've seen this in professional works of fiction, this exact trope.
Tall, Japanese, orange hair.
I mean, yeah, you're not.
Mate, this trope of like them not knowing who the fuck's walking through, it's been in so many popular like proper fictions at this point that I can't even like blame this guy for this. Honestly.
Yeah, I know. Stupid guards are a popular
here's the thing.
stereotype.
I get mad at it in normal fiction too. Like, unless there's a legitimately good reason for them to not know who the individual in question is. Like for instance, Mass Effect 1. Nobody knows who you are. By the time you're in Mass Effect 3, guards see you and they're like, "Oh, that's Commander Shepard. I'm not fucking with him."
You see, that makes a lot more sense.
And that
right?
makes perfect sense.
Right.
So these guys don't know him right now. They're just expecting him. Maybe not even there. Maybe these guys are new on the ship.
See, that's the thing. No, like right here it goes. Orange yet scoffed. Replied shortly. Ichigo Kurosaki. Yasaka should have told you guys about me. My apologies. She did tell us about you. So she personally implied by this statement. Yasaka personally told the front gate guards about Ichigo. And they're like, "Hey, you! Person that fits the exact description of the person we were told to look out for! Who are you?"
See, now you can't defend him anymore. Earlier I could, because it's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, we just knew on the ship," something like that. But no, "Oh yeah, we were told about you."
Directly
by
Yasaka.
These are just people bad at their job. That's all this one is.
Yeah.
This is basically they're not even people bad at their job because they didn't try to pick a fight. That would be people bad at their job. This is just a writer going for one thing and then just switching completely. He's going for the entire, "Oh yeah, we don't know you, get the fuck out" thing, and then he's like, "Oh no, sir, we are sorry, we know you, but we don't know you." So
now here's my problem.
Blah
Here's my big problem.
Call me Ichigo.
Sneaky, hold on a second.
Yeah.
My big problem with all this is, what was the point?
Nothing.
I'm not one of the writers who thinks that, oh, if you describe something, you have to use it, or there was no point. However, I do think if you're going to write something, it should serve some kind of purpose. And you could argue this was like a comedy scene, but this wasn't even funny. So if it was supposed to be a comedy,
it's just
scene,
a word filler.
Very poorly.
It's literally just to fill the fucking time.
Anyway, blah blah blah. Don't call me Sama. Just call me Ichigo. Okay, we'll call you Ichigo. Blah blah blah. The guards were amused by the servant's formal tone. Blah blah blah. They passed a bunch of rooms. This will be your room. The door at the end leads to Yasaka. Let me unpack and blah blah blah. Servants will fetch you. There will be a cord in the room which will summon servants if you need anything. Very well. I hope you find your accommodations to your liking. He was impressed with the room. Okay, so we're explaining the room. It's super swanky. Just imagine like a Trump suite. Golden crusted everything.
Okay, once again, I understand this is a mansion, but this is your security guard. While you do want him to have nice things, you don't want it to be hyper opulent.
The ceiling was ivory. There was a gold chandelier hanging from the center.
But like, okay, so Atin, but Yasaka, didn't she earlier realize that this dude is kind of, sort of, really fucking powerful?
Right, but even still, he's just a security guard. No matter how strong your security guard is, they're a guard. You don't. Yeah. Obviously, you don't buy them garbage stuff, but you have. It
has to be middle grade, but decent.
Middle grade.
There's definitely overkill, but you would want to appease to a guard who's technically stronger than you are, right?
Right, but you see his thing. Then you have to be sure you're walking the very fine line of bribing him, and he loses all respect for you, and keeping him happy.
Exactly, which is why you have to be right in the middle.
Right, but this is an ivory scene.
This is just out of the thing. This is like, whoa, fuck this. I have gold. Also, the point I wanted to bring up was, isn't like the place where he's living at like Kyoto or whatever the fuck the place's name was, isn't that like properly Japanese construction with woodworks and shogi doors and all that stuff?
I mean, it depends on the area you're in.
I mean, no, she stays in a shrine, right? She's literally
Oh.
a shrine maiden,
Yes.
the guardian of the ley lines. So it would kind of make sense for her
As
to live in
far
a
as
shrine.
I know, that would fit the bill, but I haven't seen the show. And I
No,
don't
it's not even
understand.
in the show. She's not actually shown up in the show yet.
Oh.
Only in the books. And even there, they didn't even deem her important enough to give her like an artwork. People just really like her because
Okay,
she's
but
like a
regardless,
fox.
if she is in fact
Oh, I know she
living-
does have an artwork now. Oh, those are big tits.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if she's living in a traditional shrine where they're putting an ivory ceiling and a gold chandelier, I would love to know.
Oh,
And I'm sure
she
someone's
does
gonna
show
go,
up in the
"Oh, it's
new
magic."
artwork.
Listen, that's some strong magic.
Mate, those are some strong boobs.
Yep.
Well, gotta say, whoever the fuck wrote her in the first pick was not wrong.
All right, so we're all ready to move on.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay. Also, My Hero Academia is not Western.
But Trump is.
I mean, yes.
No, we're
but it's a
not
parody,
getting into this.
So it goes in shitposts.
I mean, you
Not
posted
getting
Star
into this.
Wars there. Who the fuck
Not
cares?
on the show. Talk
It
about it
only
after.
took me 45. It only took 45 minutes for Ichigo to get unpacked. Because he didn't have terribly much to unpack. 3 duffel bags, 45 minutes. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
I mean, he is superhuman.
I'm sorry. What? 3 duffel bags and what?
It took him 45 minutes to unpack 3 duffel bags.
I mean,
What?
wouldn't it take you that much too?
No.
No, like,
It's a duffel
How do you
bag.
guys?
Five.
How do you guys? You just throw everything.
no. I mean, like, it takes me 15 to unpack when I first moved in. It took me about 15 minutes to get everything inside and unpacked.
You guys are superhuman, aren't you?
What?
Just
No,
not
I just
bad
don't
at
pack
unpacking.
unnecessary garbage.
Well, you guys are superhuman then. I fucking take like ages to unpack, but yeah. Isn't he like moving there like a work thing?
Look, I moved to college, and I moved well out of state. So I essentially moved my entire life. I moved my entire life in 3 duffel bags and 2 boxes.
Yeah.
Getting unpacked, like getting everything set up the way I wanted it to, probably took me half an hour at the most. Because you pack correctly. You put all your clothes in one bag, so you can unpack all your clothes. Pots and pans, you pack all that. You pack all the kitchen stuff together, so then you unpack all the kitchen stuff. And then, like, if you have a TV, I guess that adds some extra prep time. But like,
I mean, that's because your mom packs for you, right? But
computer stuff.
this is Ichigo.
Okay, look, I will admit, my mother is superhuman when it comes to packing things.
Dude,
She's
no,
like,
I
oh,
have to
what's
agree
that?
with
You
every
can only fit
normal.
half your things in your car? Hold on. 5 minutes later, it's like, yeah, I just played Jenga all my life.
Exactly. Like the thing
Jenga
is,
and Tetris.
I just realized that my thing is completely moot because I moved my whole PC here and I had to reassemble it from like moving up to India. So that's what took me long. I just realized that.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah,
trust me,
See-
trying to take 4 bags.
unpacking an entire computer, that makes sense. That takes some time. But like
Okay.
a normal guy, you shouldn't. First of all, if you have more than 3 duffel bags worth, you are doing it wrong.
I mean, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, that is, to be fair, though, that is if you're not switching seasons.
That's true.
Because, I mean, like,
That's-
moving from Florida to Vermont, I'm going to have a bit more clothes than 3 duffels. Because
But
summer and
isn't-
winter.
Where was this? Give me a second. Kyoto.
Kyoto, they get snow, right?
No, I'm just checking if it's near the sea because then you can kind of. Yeah, it's
Anyways,
near. No.
Anyway, so blah 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 blah. The book was giving him so many ideas. It helped him more than any person had ever helped him before.
Boy, that sounds like a cheap way for the author to manufacture some character growth.
The one method he found to his interest was imagining objects that could link together, and each link representing his power. After giving it him some thought, he closed the book and shut his eyes and pictured a chain. He grasped his power and formed a single link from it. This was so easy. He continued forming links on the train until he turned into Naruto and casted Rasengan.
Don't
Friendship
even joke like that.
He continued forming links on the chain until he made a spiral. It took him a while, but he managed to seal his power into the chains. What? Fucking excuse me? Now let's see if it will hold.
Nani?
He opened his eyes, moving his concentration from controlling his energy.
Oh, that'll be a wisdom saving throw, Ichigo, moving your concentration.
Ichigo felt about half of the chains break, with the other half held firm. Well, it's a pretty fucking useless chain if half the links broke.
Yeah, that's not what you want a chain to do, my bro.
It would take some practice before he's able to seal them further. I really don't understand what's happening here.
Wait, is he Naruto?
Is he trying? Hey, look, man, that snow movie was good. Anyway, fucking, is he? I think the author is actually trying to Nasuverse this shit.
What do you mean?
Because in the Nasuverse, all Magus have a trigger that activates their magic.
Uh-huh.
And, for example, Shiro's is a gun hammer.
Alright.
And so, like, I guess the author's trying to Nasuverse this with Ichigo imagining his power as chains. And then he activates the chains to unleash his power?
So he's going to become Kratos.
Yes.
Basically.
I mean...
Either Kratos or Naruto's mother. There's only two extremes it can go.
One of these things is not like the other.
You know, look.
I said two extremes, man.
I am sure that's out there.
What, like a God of War
Boy!
when Naruto's mother is Kratos, or Kratos is Naruto's mother.
I will say this: I think it would be hilarious to read a fanfiction where Kratos is Naruto's dad.
Boy, we have no time for that nonsense.
Kratos won't die to the nine. He won't have to die to get rid of the nine-tailed fox. He'll just kill the nine-tails himself.
I mean, you could just play the new God of War game. It's the same thing, really.
Oh, what? Does Kratos' son create a Rasengan at the end?
I've seen some footage of the new God of War, and that boy doesn't walk around yelling "Believe it" every 5 seconds.
He kind of does. He's a bit more of a more subtle Naruto.
Okay, no, here's the thing. You want to know why he's not Naruto?
What?
Because the kid solves all of his problems by reading.
Well, more like his dad makes him read. So if you could imagine, Minato or Kushina being there, they'd make Naruto read too.
Yeah, maybe. But they're not. They're dead. Ha
Yeah.
Anyway.
Kratos is a better parent than Naruto's because Kratos didn't leave his son alone.
He kind of did. He only came back when his mom died.
Well,
like, no, he literally
made sure
created
there was
a kid,
parent there
fucked off for a
times.
good time, came back when the mother died.
So, blah, 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 channeling the amount of... Okay, so... He continued reading once more, learning more about how to specifically use Kyoto. From the looks of it, it seemed similar to how he flash-stepped or stood in the air. The main principle was channeling the energy in the proper places, letting it flow into a shape he wanted rather than forcing it like he tried to do.
Sneaky. You know quite a bit about Bleach, right?
Author's note. I don't know if this is correct, but this is how I'm explaining it.
Sneaky, you know Bleach lore pretty well, right?
Mildly.
Isn't Kyoto supposed to be the hardest branch of
Well, I
spirit
mean,
arts
it's
that you
the
can
hardest
learn?
branch of them all because it's about projecting your energy out, and some people don't have enough fucking energy to project.
But that kind of runs counterintuitive to Ichigo not using it.
Well,
he's got
yeah.
a
Well, it
Well,
also
you
requires
see,
fine control, which Ichigo has literally none
you
of.
see, Kyoto is to Bleach like Seals are to Naruto in that they're all bullshit and they will always solve every situation they're used in. And even if they don't solve the situation that they are used in, they'll provide time to get the solution to the situation they're used in.
Huh.
Penis!
I would say I think my personal favorite was when they just had Kisuke invent a new one just to deal with Aizen.
Yeah.
But isn't Kisuke already like the guy who lives with Kisuke? You know that weird, really
Yes,
old
he is the
looking
Kyoto
guy?
master.
Yeah, but did he die or did he just lose a hand? I know he lost a hand, but did he,
He
die
lost
from that?
something. Anyway, so blah blah
Yeah.
blah. A male servant. Yeah, Lady Yasaka has requested I retrieve you. I'm lacking grammar again, but hey, at least I put a period at the end of the sentence. Ichigo
Yay!
glance at the clock. Oh, alright, lead on, I guess. Blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, yeah, aside from him not knowing when to put commas in occasionally, I mean, his grammar is more or less okay. There's some
can
definite...
say-
anything super bad?
Yeah, there's nothing super bad. His spelling is A-okay. His grammar is here and there. There's problems, and I don't mean like misspelling words or using the incorrect word problems. I mean like pacing problems, missing comma problems.
He just doesn't have cadence.
Yeah.
Like the flow is incorrect. It's you can imagine that you can imagine how it's said because we've read a lot of shit.
Right.
But the commas are literally missing.
Yeah, I mean the other problem is it's sort of, and like again, this is me nitpicking again. We do this a lot when it's actually a not shit fic. It's sort of at certain parts reads, Ichigo is here. Now Ichigo is here doing this. Now Ichigo is here doing this. Now he is here doing this.
Also, this guy doesn't know the difference between a period and a comma.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Like at certain places, he's used a comma instead of a period and made like okay, like the entire thing that a sentence should only be as long as the purpose behind it indicates it be.
Right.
You should not like have carry on, run on sentences, right?
Right.
This guy has a bad habit of creating run on sentences by putting a comma where he should just end the sentence.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Like look at the first okay. It was a decently sized room, when he's talking about the room. Look at where the first period is.
Right.
No, the first, second period, decently spaced. Everything after that is just runs on.
I don't think it's just so much of a run on as it looks like he just needs to better word things.
Yeah, it's just he just needs to correct his phrasing. Like read it over once again, see how it reads to him, and then just put.
I mean, honestly, I've said this before, and I'll say it again and again. You can get away with a whole fuckload of shit if you just have good pacing and tempo in a story, and that goes for fiction as well as fan fiction.
Yeah. But then there's the other side as well, where people just go like, "Oh yeah, my flow and pacing is right," but the story, the premise, and the characters themselves are kind of.
Well, it's like you could take a story about someone going to the bathroom and have great pacing, have great flow, but ultimately it's about someone going to the bathroom. That's
exactly
not super interesting.
And I know a certain few people who are like that, and who will blame literally everybody else for their fixed failure because they're like, "Oh, we are perfectly technical writers." Well, yes, you are, but the topics you choose to write upon are absolute trash.
Yeah, I know a couple people like that too.
Please. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Anyway, blah blah blah. Long table in the room. Along the wall, there's a fireplace. Blah blah blah. People are eating food. Have the palace guard, shaking him firmly. I don't actually know the name of my position. You're the royal bodyguard for future reference. Cook scarf and aprons, blah blah
Wow,
blah.
what
Food.
an ingenious position.
Indeed.
Well, it does. The royal bit makes sense because this bitch, what was her name again? Yasaka. She actually has a crown. She's like
No,
at
I
that
know,
level.
but just you're the royal
She's got two
bodyguard.
very, very big boobs and a crown.
But
That's
dude,
literally her character design.
she
That's
is
how the
also
guy
the
who went,
avatar
like-
of a god.
Yeah, and yeah, she can basically channel a god through herself. A goddess.
Yeah.
Depending on what version of mythology you follow.
Indeed. Anyway, so what brought you here? Privacy stuff, blah blah blah. Places I can train. Yep, we have a place you can train. Blah blah blah. Ichigo, there will be a tailor awaiting you. He'll take your measurements and cup you. Blah blah blah. I'm skipping through the tailor scene literally.
Sneaky. I just realized one thing.
You okay?
How is Ichigo even able to use his powers without, like leaving his body behind?
Well, you see, it's quite simple. Fuck you.
Fair point.
Yeah, I thought you would understand.
It's a very compelling counter argument.
It is.
Blah blah blah. Okay, he's telling him what the uniform he wants. Oh boy, so this is the author's method. I mean, admittedly, it's a good method, but this is the author's method of giving Ichigo a really cool uniform.
Giving Ichigo a what?
I mean, it's better than most.
Well, the author wants to give Ichigo a really cool, unique uniform. And so that's what he's doing here by having a tailor make one for him because he's the new royal bodyguard and needs to represent, yo.
Well, see, that makes sense, so it's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and insofar as we have basically a brand new position who's really important and we want everyone to recognize it, you could do worse
Yeah,
than
no,
letting
honestly,
him have a super unique uniform.
Like face paint.
Like, oh hey, this guy's in charge.
Oh,
of
wait, the
keeping
Japanese already do that.
everyone safe. So
blah,
he's
blah,
gonna have a
blah.
bright orange uniform, so everyone knows that's him.
And what is he,
Yeah,
fucking
I mean,
Naruto?
Japan's already done that, right? Like the Shinsengumi from the Edo period. I'm not really sure, but they had like a blue kind of haori instead of the normal like grays and reds preferred by most samurai. So they would stand out even like inside a full town or like a group of other swordsmen. I have no idea why I know this.
I was gonna say, but there you go. That's exactly why you do that. That's super useful.
Yep.
Oh, here you go. Here's your answer.
What?
So how am I supposed to use my sword then? Do I just pump energy into it? Simple as that, King. Most other Shinigami would carry around their swords to imprint their souls in them. However, if I pump my own power into it at the same time because of authorial bullshit, it should sync us up. Unless that bucket hat wearing bastard of yours is pulling shit on us, it will merge your soul into your body. Maybe now you won't rip all your muscles trying to do a flash step. His Zanpakuto cackled. Yeah, laugh it up.
So it's literally fuck you, I'm the author, this works.
Yes.
Fair enough.
To be the point.
Blah blah blah, divided into pairs, roamed over the groups, coordinating. I have to say, they seem to have more teamwork than most Agamya I've seen. Suzuki was surprised. You would think they'd be a bit more trained. Nah, they're all obsessed. Blah blah blah. Do you have anywhere open for me? I need to get some training done. Most of the grounds are taken up. That'll do. Break time, everyone. Scatter! The floor is yours. Ichigo shook his head, walked to the center of the grounds, finger to the right pin. The cane appeared in his hands, removing the blade from its sheath. He held the sword in front of him. He could feel the eyes of all the guards, blocking them out as He held out the midnight blade in front of him. I thought the blade was turned black by his super dense Ryetsu.
Yeah, I mean, the cleaver knife was already black.
But like
that was black because Rule was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was black because of his super dense Ryetsu.
And he makes it even more dense for his Bankai, which was basically the Nazi symbol and the katana.
Yeah, more or less. Well, I mean, technically it was the peace symbol or something like that.
I mean, it's technically the swastika, the actual one, because it goes the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is Buddhist and Hindu for peace and what's the other word for it? Not starving, not suffocation. Success, yeah, that's the one.
What's wrong?
Don't make a Nazi joke. Don't make a Nazi joke.
Oh, good. You were smart enough to not do that this time.
Don't do it. Yet.
Indeed.
Set
Many
it down,
of the
write it.
guards were blah blah blah, sweating from his energy, the feeling of being crushed, blah blah blah, vortex, blah blah blah. Wow, he's so powerful, my dudes. Blah blah blah. His power was thrashing, eclipse, Zangetsu. The vortex converged upon itself. The energy returned to the figure that stood in the middle of the cloud of dust. A small gust of energy cleared the dust, revealing Ichigo wielding a new weapon, or rather 2 weapons. In his right hand was a large sword, nearly as long as Ichigo was tall. It was similar to a kyber knife, with just a hollowed out portion running down the center.
Wow, that's incredibly stupid.
Yeah,
I
a
mean-
kyber knife as big as
Are you
Ichigo.
ready for it? This is the canon new weapon for Ichigo near the end, by the way.
It is. I know.
In the left hand, he wielded a smaller blade. It
That
was
does
just...
not make it less stupid.
I know.
But
It was longer
it
than
was
his
actually
forearm, and it was
smaller.
white. Author's
Like,
note,
even the
I'm
cannon
bad
weapon was not as big
describing
as
this, but this is the true form of Zangetsu. Look it up.
wow. Why don't we just write this fic for you while we're at it?
I know, right? Everyone stood in awe and shock. It looks like it's worked, but what's with the 2 swords? This is my true form. The sword you had before was more like a Quincy spirit weapon. You need an Asuchi to have Shinigami powers. I didn't even have access to that. So the old fart made a Quincy weapon and pumped my Shinigami energy into it. Now, if Hat and Clogs had actually given you one, things would have been different from the start. I swear next time I see that asshat, I'm going to shove a Sarah up his ass. It's going to take some training to wield 2 swords at once. Some training to wield. Some training! There is a reason why
just a
dual
minute,
wielding
not
was
just a
not
minute.
a big thing. It is absurd levels of training, sir.
I mean, there's only one swordsman from Japan who's successfully done that and actually been successful at that, and that's fucking Miyamoto Musashi.
well, I mean,
And he took his entire life to do that.
2 swords, yes. Now, however, a short sword dagger combination, while uncommon, was still a thing in Europe.
Yeah, because the parrying dagger was a real thing.
Yeah,
But that would generally be paired with, let's say, something like a rapier or a light sword.
right, exactly. Zex says, Skittle Skadoodle, your dick is now a noodle, have another subscription. Thank you, Zex. I appreciate your tantric chant.
Anyway.
One more very stupid trope in, well, not even in fanfiction, in like most anime and
Yeah, I was
manga.
gonna say this is a problem that normal fiction has and anime really has.
Well, I mean, you know that's the whole reason why Drizzt wielded 2 swords, right?
No, I'm not talking about that. I was talking about how stupid
What
it
do you mean?
sounds when
What do
somebody
you
just
mean?
appears with 2 swords instead of one, and everybody's like, oh,
Okay,
his powers
so
must have doubled.
the story behind
But
Drizzt,
before-
the Chronicles of Drizzt, the story behind the Forgotten Realms saga, the character Drizzt.
I've never heard of this.
It's a massive, massive series. Has over like 50-something books in it.
Wait. You for real never heard Drizzt Doerden?
I have heard the name.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is the story behind it. So Salvatore wanted to write
This is important.
A D&D
because
story.
It's all a shitpost.
Yeah.
Or is this the one you're talking to me about?
Yes.
Sneaky?
So
Alright.
Salvatore wanted to write a D&D book. He ended up writing for the Forgotten Realms. Now, D&D 3.0 was a thing when he started writing. And dual-wielding swords was not a thing in D&D 3.0 because of the massive aim penalties you took to doing that.
It was like a -10, wasn't it?
Minus 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
two.
I wasn't far off.
However,
I kind of remember.
the story behind the character is he actually made him using 3.0 D&D stat sheet and everything, but proceeded to basically min-max the character so he could actually use 2 swords.
Like made like a crit build out of it.
No, like made it able to actually hit things build out of it.
All right, so
Because remember, it
other
was a
stuff are
-8.
triggers.
Right. So massive aim penalty. So anyway, it was so the book series was so popular and so many people enjoyed that character and that setup that dual wielding swords is actually a ranger specialization in 3.5. That is the
It doesn't
reason
only work with
why
short swords,
why dual wielding swords in 3.5 for rangers is a specialization. Is that character being made in 3.0 and becoming popular through the stories?
Like
Because
I've always thought
everyone
of it this
wanted
way,
to
right?
be like Drizzt.
It is doable, but only under certain circumstances.
Under
For
extremely
example, as
certain
Miyamoto
circumstances.
Musashi's entire legacy was the fact that he used long sword, which is a katana, and a wakizashi, if I'm not wrong, which is a shorter knife-type blade,
Yeah.
right?
I know.
Well, no, it's not. It's the wakizashi sits in a weird spot. It's not a knife.
It's more like
It's
a.
not a knife, but it's not a sword, basically.
Yeah, well, no, it's an arming sword. It's a short
Yeah.
sword. It's
So
the kind
that's
of
what
sword.
he used, right? And
Yeah.
as we know, he is literally the most successful Japanese swordsman who never lost a fight.
Well, yeah, because it's really hard to fucking counter something
his
that's
back
never
was-
been used before.
He was also one of the eldest swordsmen to ever come out on the scene. He came out of like his own dojo and everything, stuff like that, after 30 years of training.
Yeah.
So he was basically facing with people with half the amount of experience that he had.
Yeah.
But let's be
And
very
this is the
honest,
thing.
samurai became samurai at a very young age.
This is one of the most important things about a human being dual wielding swords. It does increase the options you have, but it's really, really hard to make use of those options because the human brain is amazingly complex, but amazingly stupid.
But if you kind of like, if you make like a full so you know what the entire thing about the katas are, right? Which is like just practicing with the swords, the forms, right?
Yes.
It's basically to make your body like make it second nature.
Right.
And so when he started teaching, when he became like the assistant teacher for like the shogunate, he used these katas to train other people, and he never produced a proper heir for his style.
Well, that's because it's also heavily genetic.
Yeah. He was a huge guy. I mean, by Japanese
Well,
standards.
no, not even that. You actually have to be fairly large so you can balance properly in your swings. You have to be ambidextrous, and you also have to have a certain mutation in your brain that allows it to, like, basically think parallel.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there are people
Well, yeah,
who can
because
parallel
sorry,
write,
that goes back to my
parallel
earlier
stuff
point
like
about the brain. Like properly utilizing 2 swords is really, really hard for the human brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So it's also, so it's like not only is it massive amounts of training and getting the right stances and the right, practice in so you remember to use them both, but it's also heavily genetic. So yeah, I'm not surprised that he
the
never
biggest
produced
thing is-
someone to pick it up.
the biggest thing is, one more thing about Miyamoto's entire thing was, every samurai used the same kind of sword back then.
Right.
Well, not
Right.
just the same kind of
So-
sword, the same style.
Yeah, no, the styles were different. I mean, they had a couple of schools,
Well,
but
no,
that
no,
means
but
he
like-
kind of
like-
memorize what these people did and come up with counter plans, which is why his biggest fight is against this no-namer back then called, what's his name again? Give me a second.
No namer.
I knew
yeah,
it.
no,
Sasaki Kojiro.
The
And the only reason that fight was hard was because he had a gigantic sword, which was literally called the washing pole, which is in Dark Souls.
The
Because
thing
the
is,
washing pole is hilarious.
there's a saying that you have to beware both the rookie and the master, because the rookie doesn't know what he's doing, so you don't know what he's doing, but the master is so good at what he's doing is that he knows what you're going to do.
Yeah. In that case, they were both masters, but of course, like, and there are multiple accounts of how it happened, how it went down. But in the end, Miyamoto Musashi won, and that was his most notable accomplishment, beating a 19-year-old at a swords fight.
Indeed.
After beating 60 more people before him.
Anyway, so blah blah blah. Hey yo, let's spar now. Wait, hold on a second. He cut off the energy to his swords. Sealed form, immense pressure, let up. But only for a second as Ichigo came back down. Oh, the immense pressure on the guards had appeared once more as Ichigo powered down to a level they could sense. Because that's a Bleach thing, is, oh my god, he's so powerful, I can't feel him anymore.
Oh yeah. But it was only ever used in one instance, though.
Yes. The swords glowed for a moment, but Fanfiction certainly hasn't forgotten it. The swords glowed for a moment before dissipating and back into a cane. Thanks for letting me use the grounds. No problem. Hey, let's spar with each other. Okay, let's spar. He turned the cane sheath around, holding it as if it was a second sword. I don't know how to fight with two swords, so I might as well start learning the basics. This is the same shit I commented on previously, and the same shit I sort of talked about to Cruel behind the scenes when I was writing that fanfiction I'm currently publishing. Two-Step Goodbye. Everyone should check it out. It can be found in the panels down below.
Why can't you shill this hard for our sponsors?
Because we don't have any.
That's right, but we could! Hashtag not an ad. Hashtag could be an ad.
That could be an ad.
Kind of need more people for that, but I would recommend at least looking out for Discord. I mean, they're pretty lax with their whole Discord Prime thing, whatever the fuck it's called.
Indeed. Anyway,
that's because no one uses Discord Prime.
What I was saying previously, and this goes back to our previous large-ass conversation that probably bored everyone to tears. Wake up, everyone! Okay, everyone's awake now. Alright, so
wake up and smell the cocaine, Mr. Freeman. Wait, wrong game.
Scarface Freeman crossover.
Please
do it.
Anyway, so as I was saying, this is another thing that authors get wrong a lot, and I see this. This is the whole thing I had problems with Ruby when they did this. Is in Ruby, Pyrrha trains John, even though Pyrrha and John use completely different swords, have completely different body types, and have completely different shields.
And completely different fighting styles to begin with, because John does have a little bit of a foundation, bit. Not much,
and so, like right here, this also applies. Oh, I should learn how to fight with two swords, so I'm going to use a sheath in one hand.
No.
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 There's a reason why weighted wood swords are a thing. There's a reason why weighted wood, a lot of things are used for practice. When you're
and the worst thing is, by doing something like this, by using a second sword when you already have one, you're actually messing up your own muscle memory. It's counterproductive.
Well, not just that.
It's not counterproductive if you train to master both.
It's especially counterproductive because a sword and sheath is a fighting. It's a style. It's an actual style.
Yeah, Yaijutsu, whatever the fuck it's called. But yeah, it's a style.
Yeah. And the sheath weighs differently. You know, it's like, okay, it's one thing to use a different sword in your main hand. Yeah, sure, okay. Like I said in the fiction, swords aren't too complicated when its pointy end goes here. At the end of the day, obviously they are complicated, but at the end of the day, pointy end goes here. Sheaths are a lot different than swords in how they operate, how they weigh, how they fly through the air, how they can block things.
Block.
They're very different. So it just bugs me. I understand a lot of authors are just going with rule of cool for this, like, oh, two swords, it means a sheath and a sword too. That works because two things. I get simple logic. I don't expect hyper realism, but it's still a thing that makes me angry.
some animes have already used this exact trope, so I guess they feel kind of like, okay, I've seen it before, so I guess it works.
Yeah, I know. I realize, like I said, it's not something like I'm like, oh, you have to change it. You can't do this. It's just something I'm disgruntled about because it's like, the rule of cool is a thing in writing because it's not real life. However, it doesn't mean I have to like it.
I mean, you don't like 90% of all things, so.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's why I'm assuming that's why people come here to see me hate shit because I don't know why else would you be here listening to my voice every couple days.
I mean, for most people, it's basically you got nothing better to do.
I mean, honestly, that's
Eddie.
the sort of expectation at this point. Just, you know. I don't know. Blah blah blah. They sized each other up. Ichigo disappeared. Before Suzuki knew what was happening, Ichigo used the sheath to trip the head guard. Are we talking about the head guard?
So suddenly Ichigo
Wait.
has plenty of experience fighting with a sheath, even though he's literally never done that, because up until this point, his weapon has consisted for 85% of the time as a giant knife, and then the other 15%.
I'm really confused here, though.
I hear you, but Tite Kubo.
Yeah, true. I'm really confused here, though, because he says head guard, undercase, which makes me confused what we're talking about here. I understand from the sentence he's talking about the person. However, we also have swords in the mix and heads in the mix. So, for all I know, if I was an unintelligent person who couldn't read context clues, the author could be talking about Suzuki's guard protecting his head. With his sword.
I think by head guard he means those Naruto band-aid things that they wear over their heads.
Or that. Like, fucking, look. Capitalization changes things.
Yeah.
If he is the head guard, that is capitalized.
Wait, I get it. Head guard as in the leader of the guards.
Yeah.
But yeah, capitalization.
If you capitalize that, that means it's a fucking noun.
It could also be a guard giving him
really
head.
struggling there to say noun. How much vodka have you had already?
I have not had anything. I'm certainly drinking now.
I'm drinking Fanta, man.
wanna Fanta.
Anyway.
Hashtag not an ad.
Hashtag could be an ad.
Could be an ad.
Dude, I would drink the shit out of Fanta if I was sponsored by them.
Honestly, if you had a camera and if you drank like Red Bull every day, you could get a Red Bull thing. Because my friend got it that way.
But I despise Red Bull. It tastes like rusty piss.
I mean,
I will drink Red Bull if I have to
way.
pick between Monster and Red Bull. I'll drink Red Bull.
Okay, now I'll drink Monster.
I'd rather drink Monster, yeah.
Because I can get used to Monster.
Plus, Monster comes in different flavors, and some of them are good.
Anyway. Blah blah blah, tripping up the guard, sending him to the ground, held the blade to his throat. Everyone was super stunned. Suzuki was known as the most powerful person in the palace, second only to Yasaka. For him, being beaten so easily came as a shock to everyone. Ichigo looked sheepish. Oh, sorry, I didn't think I'd be that fast. Oh, yep, no problem. Pulling him back up. This time I'll use my true form!
I want to point out, if this is a head guard, he should immediately be far more suspicious of Ichigo. Because he appears as a competent thug, but suddenly he's a hyper-intelligent, competent, dangerous warrior.
I mean,
in the span of like several fucking hours, we went from, hey, this human's fairly competent at punching other humans, to, he's just shooting laser beams out of his ass while he's punching God in the face.
I mean, that's basically how the Shin Megami Tensei games work, but okay.
Okay, well, this isn't a Shin Megami Tensei video game.
Could be. D times D is basically Shin Megami Tensei for people who like...
Hashtag could be a game, hashtag not a game.
Exactly.
Yes. Loosened the bindings on his armor, he tensed his body, his skin grew white, 2 red horns. Scalera became red. He became super bulky. Are you ready?
Okay, this should be setting off all your alarm bells.
Who? Ichigo?
Yes.
No, he was already told about the yokai thing.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then the
I mean, he kind of saw Yasuka's.
then the head guard said, "Hey, I'm gonna be in my true form now." So I mean, it's not like it was a sudden thing.
But what is he? Is he just some kind of
He's an
random ass
Oni.
fucking beast? Alright.
Yeah.
Aren't Oni like the lowest grade of all yokai though?
It really depends. They're according to certain lore, some of them are like super high royal grade, and yeah, some of them are dumb. Yeah.
I mean, if
I
you
was
think
gonna
you
say,
get
well, if you
guard,
check the
for
if
the
you check
Japanese
if you check the DMG, I believe they're a CR5 creature.
I mean, I'm just trying to like if I'm saying Shin Megami Tensei, you get them at level 10, so yeah. And that
Look,
game
the
is
only place
very
I've encountered them
that
is
game
the
is
DMG, and
very accurate.
they're like a CR5.
Yes.
Okay. Nerd.
Anyway, Suzuki made the first move. Blah blah blah. Speed. Blah blah blah. Swinging swords. He was blocked the sword, but was forced into the ground. He raised the cane up to reinforce his guard, managing to push the cane.
And every time I
there a
hear
problem?
Suzuki, I imagine like a bike hitting Ichigo like at different angles. I have no idea. This is my true form.
Sorry, I'm smiling. I'm just trying to figure out the physics on this. Okay, so you're raising one arm in the air, blocking it, and then you have this piece of wood, and you raise the wood up, and the pressure's still on the metal because that's first still. So then you scissor it and then move it sideways. I'm assuming that's what's going on here.
Okay.
No,
how I'm
no,
seeing it.
he's pushing the blade back, but that's really shit leverage. Your arms don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that you use the same piece of equipment you're already using to guard and put two hands on it instead of bringing another piece of equipment in.
I'm literally sitting here with my arms in the air. The leverage just
Well,
doesn't
no.
work
To
like
be
that.
fair,
If you cross them,
one of
though,
the
you have
things you
decent
can
leverage.
do. One of the things you can do is what you do with the parrying dagger, when you literally bring a second piece of equipment in for the explicit purpose of blocking.
Or you could kind of shift to one side and let the sword down, allowing the other person to tumble forward and then using the space you've created to cut his fucking stomach open.
Space created.
Space
Ping,
created.
ping, 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 ping.
Ping, 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 ping. GG, well played.
GG no re team noob.
Feed mid.
Report Zeus.
A short distance away, two figures watched the battle unfold. Yasaka and Kuno had felt the large burst of energy a short while ago and knew that it came from Ichigo. What the fuck would you know that? They hurried to see what was going on, only to find her new protector to be sparring in his Oni form. Blah blah blah, doubts were crushed, blah blah blah. Kuno was excited and worried for Ichigo. Keeping an eye on the small blonde, Yasaka noticed she flinched anytime Suzuki scored a hit against Ichigo. Kuno took an interest in Ichigo, she didn't know why. And blah blah blah, condition Suzuki was in, she decided it was time for the bout to end as she had need of Ichigo and people might take it a sign of weakness if her bodyguard was scratched up. I mean, I guess.
The slow lumbering Oni versus Death God.
Except the slow lumbering Oni actually stacked his decks up pretty high.
But then he wouldn't have any points in strength. So what's the point of being an Oni?
Well, he put all of his
Well,
points into everything.
he's taking advantage of the massive racial bonus, dude.
Duh.
I think the racial bonus is just a club you get at birth and a horn.
That's racist.
Against what? Onis? You
Yes.
can't be racist to something that doesn't exist.
Don't be an odious.
Don't be an onion.
What are you, an oniphobe?
Hey now, you're an oniphobe. Right.
I hate all of you.
Well, you were still here with us.
Yet you're still here.
Also,
I
how
like
do you hate
money
me?
more than I hate you.
I mean, fair enough. Honestly, this is more useful than I thought it would be. He nodded to Yasaka. Blah, blah, blah. I believe that's enough for a spar. He looked confused, glanced down his runes, and then he pushed energy through his limbs. White liquid bubbled to the surface from his wounds, covering the lacerations, and he was healed, aside from his clothing. Change your clothes, join me in the throne room, blah blah blah, go get patched up, my guards. Blah blah blah, Ichigo, we're bros now. Blah blah blah, Ichigo, there you are. If you stand here, we will begin! Ichigo took his place near Yasaka. They only had to wait. Several armored guards leading the 8 kidnappers in, all of them in chains. They were still black, their faces were uncovered, revealing scarred and bruised faces.
What is there to go over? They tried
This
to
is
kidnap the
literally
princess.
fucking Yakuza.
The largest one managed to push away the guards and charged at Ichigo. Before the guards could react, a great pressure fell
Hold on
on
a minute.
everyone's
Isn't
shoulders.
he chained?
Yes. I can break these cuffs!
No, you can't.
You sound like you're in physical pain. Snake.
Have you never seen that?
No.
I have. I wish I hadn't, but I have.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
No, Sneaky, no.
Which reminds me, Max, next week.
Max.
I am not Max.
God,
You idiot.
Max.
God damn it. The same thing. I need to play with both of you, so yeah. Because you're the only two who have the game, so.
What are you talking about?
Oh, Gundam. The game. Versus.
Ah, yes.
I told you because work ends next week and I can actually get the game, so yeah, that's fine. Oh, wow. Sneaky and I actually pulled up the video.
Stay right there.
Sneaky, no!
This is a great video.
Also, apologize to Chrysanthemum.
What is wrong with
Sorry,
you? Take a
Chrysanthemum.
deep breath. It'll be all right.
Poor
Take a
Chris.
deep breath.
Well, actually, I mean, just apologize in general for the ear-raping
You can't break
duties
those
for
cuffs.
people every week.
We appreciate your cooperation now, okay?
That whole episode was just so great. He
What
climbs up.
kind of TV show was this?
Okay, so Cops is basically a reality TV show where they follow one group of cops around and they arrest people, and the people are really dumb.
What the lie?
Like I said, that one scene goes on, and he climbs a telephone pole at one point, Mulan style, and it was hilarious.
And then they wonder,
was.
and then they wonder why people in the USA are quite trigger happy.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, people do.
Anyway,
Anyway, struggling against the bonds, he's running at Ichigo, then he's crushed under Ichigo's presence.
But
PP is doubled.
PP. If PP
Ichigo Kurosaki used oh, what was it?
It's pressure.
It lowered speed. What was it? It wasn't it just like massive
Oh.
presence or something?
I don't know about that. All I know is pressure, the ability doubles PP usage.
I mean, yes.
And every legendary has it because they have massive pressure.
Because fuck you.
I mean, admittedly, if I was like a fucking Pikachu or something, and out of the fucking nowhere, like goddamn Arceus comes out, I would be like, shit in my pants.
I mean,
You know what? I'm going home.
it's a real thing. Like, if you're up against someone who's better than you, you'll try to do your very fucking best. Which means you'll tire yourself out faster.
Yeah, more or less.
I mean, come on, Atin. When's the last time you had a fight against somebody who's stronger than you?
Never, because I don't pick fights I can't win.
I pick fights I can't win all the time.
And if anyone knows what I'm quoting, congratulations, you're a massive nerd.
Anyway, blah blah blah. The force continued for roughly 5 seconds. Spell it out. Before it let up, suddenly the thugs gulping large amounts of air as they glared hatefully at him. Corners of his lips twisted briefly upwards as he gave a nod to the guards who rounded up the compliant prisoners. 8 of you have been charged with the assault of 7 members of the Royal Guard, the murder of 2 members of the Royal Guard, breaking into the Royal Palace, attempting to kidnap the princess, and using your true forms in plain sight of humans. Oh, that's right, they're Yoki.
Fuck you, bitches.
Fuck you, bitch!
The first thing I saw when I actually like opened the tab on which your thing is, like fuck you, bitches. The first thing, just staring out at me.
The large
Martin,
criminal spoke
I
up,
call him
trying
Martin
to elicit a reaction from the
You have a
ruler.
problem, Muddy.
It's a thing, all right. Like it's like I
However,
consider
he
you
was
two as like
disappointed.
fair.
Blah blah blah. Give me the reasons. Well, they were cursing at her. Blah blah blah. Want me to do something about them? I'd rather you not injure them if that's what you're meaning. We have to remain civil. Nah, I have something way more effective. Yasaka regarded the man, eyes full of curiosity. With a nod of his own, Ichigo strode forwards, tossing the cane he had been leaning on to his left hand. Again, way too much action. He lifted his right hand to his face, his fingers clawed. Black and red energy gathered around. Oh boy. So, in the span of a couple fucking hours, Ichigo is back in action, boys. Who needs character development where you can just say, fuck you, I'm the author?
Wow. So basically, the first 3 chapters we've written for our fic are literally pointless.
According to this author, yeah.
Well, you see,
Completely
character development
worthless.
is for people with talent, which
Yes.
is something you two definitely don't have.
We do not.
I mean,
first to
we're
admit.
pretty open with that,
For
yeah.
the record, I'm not saying I do either. I'm just saying you definitely don't.
I'm
I mean-
surprised I even have 300 people that follow the story. Honestly, I honestly thought the lack of harems would just make no one read it. That-
See, you just need to stick to your guns. Just don't do it.
Sneaky.
Exactly.
Chapter 4, we introduce the harem.
No, wait, we need to introduce the
I
hyper
will
harem.
kill both of you. I know where Sneaky lives, and I'll just carpet bomb India until or the UK.
I'm not even in India.
Yeah, I know. You're in the UK. That's why I changed
He's
it.
not in the UK.
Well, I'll just carpet bomb everything. I'll get you eventually.
But you live in Chicago. The only carpet bombs you get are in the local fucking neighborhood's carpet shop.
No, no.
Run
you
by a
missed
brown
the
guy.
Perfect opportunity. It's the only carpet bombs you have there is when a hobo takes his shit on your floor.
What? you think we allow hobos to live?
I mean, it's Chicago. I think they're the only people who live there, or brave enough to live there.
That's Detroit.
Oh yeah, you do have that point too.
Okay, see, here's the thing. They can live in Detroit because there's lots of abandoned car factories for them to hide out in.
There's a lot of abandoned everything in Detroit. Let's be honest here.
Like
mean-
municipal water stations.
2008.
Anyway, he dragged his hands across his face. All of the shouting in the room instantly ceased as they felt a dark and malevolent energy flow across them. They all turned to the source of the energy. Ichigo stood tall before them, his hands preparing to draw his sword. Yet this wasn't what made them begin to shiver in fear. On his face sat a bone-white mask with 2 solid black lines running down it. But the most frightening change were the eyes. The sickly yellow orbs shine from their pools of darkness of his black sclera.
Wait,
Oh, good. He's become
Hey.
a Sith Lord.
excuse me, but didn't Ichigo kind of lose the power to become a wizard after he gained his true Zanpakuto?
Yeah, but fuck you.
I wouldn't know. I stopped reading well before that.
No, I went pretty far. I stopped when what's his name, the little guy with the ice?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he forced
Those were
himself
not
to
the
grow
eyes of a
older.
normal person. Those were the eyes of a hunter, radiating and sadistically with a touch of insanity. The maw of the mask opened, releasing a double-layered voice. Hyper Edge mode activated.
God, engine, my skin. Sorry.
When the lady asks you a question, I'm Batman. Trust me when I say this.
I'm Batman.
Trust me when I say this. Is it your best interest to answer? Got it.
Could you put like the Edgelord banner up? I mean, we're at that point.
But I know, but this is canon Bleach.
Yeah, so put the fucking banner up.
I mean, I guess. The criminals all nodded quickly, now fearing for their lives, as though they had woken Death himself. Good. Now then, which one of you like to go first? Which one of you scumbags tried to take a little kid? They could hear the slight anger behind his voice, making them flinch. Slight anger. One of the criminals gulped loudly before speaking up. Well, wait, why is he bolted?
Because he's also
Because the author completely forgot to not bold fucking dialogue because they're retarded and they can't keep track of their shit. Someone paid us to grab her and we never got a name. He turned to another of the criminals. You, is what he's saying true? The man nodded quickly. And what exactly was his place? It was... He doubled over in pain, screaming at the top of his lungs. The other 7 kidnappers followed not too long after. The guards were on alert, their weapons drawn, as Ichigo rushed closer, pulling the full man up. What he saw made his eyes widen. The center of his chest was beginning to burn away, being eaten by acid. The most pressing concern was the man's energy began to fluctuate quickly as if becoming unstable. They're bombs!
For you?
Ichigo sprung into action, taking off in a series of flash steps, grabbing all of the guards and leaving moving
Don't think too much about it.
them away from the criminals. His mind was running through what he could do when a thought came to him in his head. Let's hope I get this on my first try. He flash stepped into the middle of the group of criminals who began to glow brightly. Okay, look, man. When a fucking wizard casts living bomb on someone, you get the fuck out of there.
Bakudo number 72 on his first try.
Remember, the higher the number, the harder it is.
Exponentially.
And the highest number we've seen is 99, if I'm not wrong.
No, remember, there's the made-up one that Kisuke made.
100.
That's 99!
No, wasn't that 100 something?
Yeah.
I think that was 99 or 100, one of the two.
Because I know that Aizen casually used the most powerful one, just used it on Ichigo.
Oh yeah, that was 99 used on Ichigo.
Sealing technique! Bullshit no jutsu! A large red dome appeared around Ichigo and the thugs, whose corpses were thrashing about rapidly as they continued to glow brighter. Suddenly, a massive explosion was heard, the bodies self-destructing in a massive torrent of fire. The barrier held firm, containing the blast completely, though that wasn't what everyone was worried about. The guards whom Ichigo had moved rushed over to the barrier as the fires died down, leaving smoke to float about inside the red dome. After a few seconds, the dome flickered out of existence, releasing the smoke into the room. A loud series of coughs was heard from the center of the blast. The guards immediately began to wave the smoke away, some using their helms to throw large amounts of air. That's not how that works at all.
Of course it is. Physics.
Are you alright, sir? One of the guards called. The smoke finally cleared away, revealing Ichigo's skin to be completely charred and black. Most of his clothing burnt away, with the exception of his pants, because Deus Ex Machina Pantos.
Alright,
Can't have nudity in my story.
Indeed.
I'm
fan-fucking-tastic, boy! Damn, that hurt! Ichigo
Atin.
coughed a couple plumes of smoke.
99 is the strongest Bakudo. It's got 2 steps to actually even make it work. It needs 2 people to make it happen.
Is everyone alright?
Unless
The
you're
barrier
Isaac.
held up? Yes, we're fine. I never used keto before. It's a good thing I read that book. Wow, he's getting everything on his first try in the second fucking chapter, guys. It's character development. Who needs character development when you can have raffle stomps? We heard larger explosions, blah blah blah, bring Kuno to the blah blah blah, get some clothing, blah blah blah. Quit your bitching and hurry up. Not bolded, but blah blah blah. Kuno, you're there. Damn it, I'm coming in. Golden hair, hiding under the explosion, blah 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 blah. Is mom okay? Yeah, she's fine. She's more shaken up than he thought. Blah blah blah. Yeah, Kuno shimmy closer to Ichigo. Is the author trying to fucking ship the two of them? Jesus Christ!
I guess.
What? What's he trying to ship?
He's trying to ship Kuno and Ichigo.
I thought he was trying to ship Yasuka and Ichigo because Kuno is like a kid.
Yeah, that doesn't stop some people.
Well, it certainly didn't stop Owl.
Yes. It did not. Blah blah, have they found anything? Blah blah blah, Kuno fell asleep on her mom.
Elementary school student.
Blah blah blah, skilled in magic. You two should be near me at all times, just in case something happens again. Ichigo was looking bored on his weapon. However, if you looked closer and into his eyes, you could see them looking around, scanning the room for threats. He had the eyes of a battle-hardened war veteran. Except, not really, though. Like, all of Ichigo's battles didn't take place around corners. They didn't take place in ambushes either.
In fact, most of them took place in the wide open fields.
In fact, Ichigo, in 99% of Ichigo's battles, it was either an open field or him attacking the person first. So,
or him creating an open field by destroying everything around them.
That happened a couple times as well, yeah. So it's just like, yes. Is he a war veteran? Yes. Is he a battle-hardened war veteran? Sure. Would he be searching every corner of the room for a possible threat?
He's more like, oh yeah, I'll just take them head on and I'll probably survive it.
Yeah, he's not.
He's never been trained in combat, really.
Yeah.
The most you can say was that, oh yeah, when he was looking for his Bankai, he fought his the old dude inside him, which sounds terribly perverse, but yeah, he fought that guy with 100 different swords or whatever the fuck.
Anyway, blah blah blah. He's tapping on the computer. He zooms in on the orange-haired man. This man was the most dangerous person in the world. With a sigh, he grabbed the file, flipping it open. By all definition, he should not have his powers. That's not how you use that term. The man closed the file and tossed it aside, blah blah blah. Something must have happened the one day he took a break. The day he hired the not-so-helpful help who was supposed to kidnap them. Anyway, blah blah blah. Yeesh, that took some time. So many scenes to get right. Ichigo uses Keto. Huzzah! Not any Keto, but my own OC.
Okay, you mean on Keto.
I'm gonna go ahead and give him True Zangetsu. Blah blah blah. They were absorbed into Zanpakuto. Will I give him Quincy powers? Maybe not. Now for power levels of this story. I'm thinking in sealed form, Ichigo can fight pretty much everyone. In Shikai, he'll be able to take on the strongest yokai, most sacred gears, and ultimate class devils. Bankai is super tricky, so I'm just gonna make him be able to take on everyone.
Oh no. Oh baby, what is you doing? He even replies to singular reviews.
Also, holy shit. 100 reviews, 600 favorites, 800 follows. Boy,
It was published in January.
that is some skewed fucking stats.
Harem. Okay, sorry, but harem.
Oh please.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Alright, so now that we've all had a taste of that, do we really want to move on to chapter 3 next
No,
point in time ever?
No, not really.
No interest in chapter. Yeah, no.
We read chapter 1 because we're like nothing really happened. The grammar wasn't terrible. How did the is this any
like
good?
this person isn't bad. They just need more practice with actually making sense.
So back to the classics, I say. Harry Potter occupation necromancer.
Well, a good piece poses a question.
Let's save that for the end.
An amazing piece.
Well, I mean, this is the end.
answers
dude.
questions
We're
in
30
the
minutes
fucking
away
title.
from the ending.
So we are.
Chapter 4.
Wait, did we spend the entire show on one fic?
I mean, we do that sometimes.
That happens a
Yeah.
lot.
And it wasn't even a very
In
bad
the old
fic.
days, that happened quite excessively.
Hey, your derail counter, it's missing now.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing: we weren't derailed.
Yeah, we were actually talking on topic. It
every
just happened those
time talking
topics
about
happened to not be precisely on that, but sort of tangentially related.
Isn't that like the textbook definition of a derail, though?
No, derail would be more like, hey, we're talking about Harry Potter occupation necromancer, and then you decided to bring up the Indian versus Germany soccer game.
There's the Indian soccer team. Oh, there is, apparently.
Chapter
they've never won anything.
4, Part 3. Harry and Dudley, age 9, year 2005. The dragon's point of view. At an early age, she learned a bunch of shit. Her creator made her for combat and companionship. Even when she was a collection of bones, she heard his wish. She could remember her conception in detail. Every bone that made up her body carried his wishes. They were the foundation for her consciousness. The scroll bound her together. Her dreams gained thought and feeling. It was the key to making her more than an animated construct. Her skeletal body absorbed the written dreams. Finally, when he held her and willed her to live, magic gave her a pulse. The 3 steps gifted her with life and granted her purpose. She would serve her master and protect him for all time. He was her father, and magic her mother.
That's creepy. Also, it's essentially Jesus. It's Jesus the other way around.
It's Jesus the other way around. She awoke from her musings when Harry walked into the kitchen. Currently she was longing on her favorite perch.
I assume they meant lounging.
Probably. The chandelier. It
But
was
hold on a
sturdier
minute.
than
You
Harry's
can't
relatives
lounge
here,
on a
so-
perch. Those are
No.
mutually exclusive.
They're quite exclusive. He opened his fridge for a snack. There was no bones, so she... no bones about it! So she lost interest, gave a half-hearted hiss, gave attention. He looked up, raised an eyebrow, tried to copy the gesture. Her body wasn't built for it. She jumped down. She kept her wings folded. Her wings had grown with her. Last time she spread them, Petunia threw a fit. It didn't endear her to the matron when talon sunk into the wood table. Luckily, Harry was always handy at repairing damage she committed. Lotus, do you want to watch Dudley and I enchant belts? I'm going to try and make mine grant in higher intelligence.
Oh my god.
Make
this
me
is
smart!
literally just
Make me
D&D.
smart! Make me smart! This is a belt of smartness! Puts belt on. Wow, that was fucking dumb. I'm glad people show up for this part.
Yep.
Is this Harry Potter meets Diablo? This is Harry Potter meets Diablo!
Oh,
Also a little bit D&D, because apparently we have stat items now.
Well, that's Diablo.
Diablo.
So basically the premise of this story is something we've been reoccurringly coming back to, is Harry Potter and Dudley are both magical children, and they played Diablo because instead of being born at a time where J.K. Rowling realized was necessary so she could have the proper plot development without having the interference of modern technology, making things easier for the characters. Most people, for some reason, decide to ignore that part, which I actually have to give J.K. Rowling credit for, because she properly recognized shit like cell phones would fuck up the story.
But she also made it a point to show that, magicians and technology don't really mix.
Okay, yeah, but when you're on the run and you got a cell phone and someone's living in a non-magical area who also has a cell phone and you're just like, yo, hey, have you heard any movements? No, man, I haven't heard any movements. Well, good thing we have these cell phones so you can keep me updated.
See, that's the one thing I don't get. Why did she just go like, oh yeah, these things don't exist? She hasn't set the story so far back in the past.
No, it's only like in the 80s or something, yeah.
No, it's not even in the 80s. Like, cars and buses and all that stuff exist. Everything is kind of modern.
Do you think they didn't have cars and buses in the 80s? Do you think they were still walking around
They had
and
those
using
things,
a horse and carriage?
No, I'm also thinking about the movies. Like, the way the entire movies are set up, like, everything around them is quite modernized.
What do you mean?
Like, just look at the movies. It does not seem like it's set in the 80s. It's more like, oh yeah, late 90s, maybe early 90s even.
I do believe it's actually early 90s now that I think about it. He was born in the 80s, and the movie starts in the 90s, because then he's like 10 at that point.
And cell phones did kind of like those big ass fucking things existed.
Okay,
in,
yeah,
like,
but that
kids
was not...
aren't gonna have them.
Yeah. That's not like 2005 where the fucking 7-year-old's got a cell phone.
Plus, the worst bit about the whole magic system was nobody decided to come up with something that would allow instantaneous communication. They have instantaneous teleportation, not instantaneous communication.
Yeah, I know. That's yes. There's obviously lots of flaws in J.K. Rowling's work, but my point being is that even J.K. Rowling, with all of her flaws,
Harry was a bisexual girl.
Was
Wait, what?
That's a story, by the way. Even with J.K. Rowling's many flaws with her story, she still managed to be like, okay, modern technology would actually fuck up some of my ideas. So let's not.
Let's just forget about that stuff.
And anyway, so this author, being a complete fucking moron, genuinely thought in the first chapter that Diablo 2 came out in like 91. And then proceeded to claim Diablo 2 was their favorite game ever. And it's like, you don't even know when your fucking favorite game ever came out? Jesus Christ. And so when someone corrected him on that, he was like, I see, I understand. I'll just move the whole timeline up by 10 years then.
Okay.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. She cocked her head at her human. She said it sounded boring. She couldn't hunt until night. Blah, blah, blah. Jumped on Harry's shoulder. Blah, blah, blah. Wrapped her tail around him. She stretched her wings. The absent pops felt good. The absent pops, so the pops that were missing felt good?
I guess? Oh,
Once they passed collection stones, metal screeching could be heard.
1990.
Carving
It is
symbols
1990.
into a bucket. The drill barely touched the metal as he patiently carved scribbles that only the boys recognized. With a power drill. Carving.
Yeah, Sneaky, you're right. Harry was born in 1990.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was. So the story does take place at 2000.
Give me a second. This is a bit. Oh no, wait. There's a clear indication that Harry was born in 1980, so the story begins in 1990.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Fucking. Yeah, don't fucking up like that, man.
10 years. So yeah.
How the hell can he explain Aunt Petunia would even allow Lotus in the house? Oh, the author hand-waved that as Lotus was a good trash disposal system, so Petunia was fine with it. You know, just necrotic dragons. They're good for trash.
well, that, and she's forced to be much less anti-magic because her own kid is magic.
Yeah, also remember Dudley is also a paladin in this, so
God, that's so dumb.
yeah, I'm aware this is a stupid story. We're not reading this story because it's good. We're reading this story because it sucks. That sucks. We're reading this story because it has a really dumb premise, and the author is poorly executing it with fairly bad grammar and spelling, and doesn't know how to spell several words, but it's too amusing to not read.
We come back because it's never quite bad enough for us to just go, that's it, we're done.
Anyway, so carving symbols into a metal buckle, and not a bucket, a buckle. You're carving symbols into a metal buckle on a belt with a power drill.
That's... that is not how that works, author.
By hand, by the way. By hand.
No, that's not how that works.
Harry put on the belt and walked over to a 20-kilo weight. He lifted it one-handed. +5 in strength, Harry asked. No, it's a +10. If we got the pattern and circle right, have you figured out a way to measure intelligence? How would they measure intelligence? Would they put a belt on the rat and teach it math? She hissed.
That is a terrible idea.
Huh.
Harry looked at her with a cross expression. She forgot he knew her hisses. He could speak with her properly when he wanted to, if only his accent was better. She let out a long, complicated series of hisses. You could always test it to see if it increases the number of spells you can use. Isn't that how intelligence works in your games? Wow, it's like the dragon's a smarter character than the two fucking MCs.
Well,
The dragon baby. That was created through magic. It is made of bones.
was that the entire premise of Aragon?
Yeah. What did she say? He knew he wasn't dumb, blah blah blah. They were all delicious and crunchy. She has a good point. I should make a projectile spell. Test how many times I can cast it. We can use the spell with and without my
That's
belt.
not how it works in Harry
Okay, we
Potter
have no
land.
projectile spells. What are you going to use? Her Harry scratched his head. Shaking a chilly breath, a blue beam of fire struck the ground. Well, I guess we know her vote. Are you sure? I don't think that was clear, Dudley said, after... See, you do this as well, Kim. Dudley chuckled. This is a dialogue tag. Dudley chuckled is a dialogue tag. Comma should be there instead. Are you sure? I don't think that was clear. And if for some reason the author decided to also add Dudley said. Because Dudley chuckled alone is not a sentence.
Yeah, Dudley chuckled, then make something out of it. But if you're just ending it there, then I just put the period there. I think it's correct. I'm not very sure though. Like, I believe if you have it in a continuation, then you have to put a comma there.
Technically, yes, it is a sentence because it has a subject and a verb. But it's a fragment of a sentence. Normally, in English, those are used for dialogue tags, which is where you replace the period with a comma and use that to lead into dialogue tag.
I just tried down a Word document, it just came up incorrect. I have no idea why.
Yeah, exactly, like Sean said. I mean, it is correct. Technically, it is correct, but like a lot of things in English, technically correct usually isn't correct colloquially. I still can't wrap my head around why Dudley was made a paladin. It's because he played Diablo. Duh. That's why he's a good person now. Playing Diablo as a paladin turns you into a good person.
Yes.
Yes.
God, I thought everyone knew that. Anyway,
But does this mean playing a ranger made me into a hippie?
Yes. Lotus leapt off him. They pulled a straw dummy out of a closet, put him up against the wall, placed a hand on his wrist, pointed at the straw man. Didn't know what the big deal was. She could breathe her flames. Looking on, she felt his magic condense. Blue sphere. His eye opened. For a second, they turned the same blue as her eyes. The ball fired like a bullet. It slammed into the straw man and through the wall. Boys, what was that? You better not be doing dangerous things. The patron of the house, whom my Harry refers to as Uncle Vernon, poked his head through the new window. Vernon looked at himself and ball middle vice in the yard. I'm assuming you didn't know I was mowing. He looked at the rocks. Ah, you figured out how to make things silent. What would have happened if the two of you got hurt? Lotus might have been able to get help, but she might not have. You might have gotten hurt and died. From now on, tell me when you're going to be working in the shop. I'll make certain to check on you every hour. Oh, like that's going to actually help people. Oh no, I've stabbed myself with this drill! Too bad, Vernon. It's gonna take another 45 minutes to check on me. Bleeds out.
Honestly, it's for the best.
At that point. What are you doing that leads to holes? No, Uncle. Well, that was the means to our goal, but it wasn't our aim. We wanted to see how many times we would use a spell like that without getting tired. This belt buckle is supposed to increase intelligence, but that's the only way to objectively test it. You want to test your limit and determine if your product increases your limit. Though I don't recommend testing your products on yourself. I can't see it getting, comma, so out of hand, comma, if you can ice-proof this wall, comma, for the test.
Okay, just to be sure, that's not... I'm not crazy. That is not how it works in Harry Potter land, right?
I mean, you can impervious things to make, like, liquids and shit.
Oh, no. I meant spell casting.
No, spellcasting in Harry Potter land works like this. Fuck you, I'm the author, and I can say when they can and can't cast spells.
Well, yeah. She never came up with a system for it. More like, wavy, things die.
I mean, she did show Harry getting tired trying to learn how to cast Expecto Patronum.
I think that's more because he has yelled so much his vocal cords started hurting.
I mean, yes. But, you know, it's like, that's really the only definition we have for it. So I'm really confused as to why they're like, yes, intelligence shall increase our ability to cast spells. Not like, hey, maybe check to see if you can do problems better or quicker or something. I mean, there's other ways to do it than casting ice balls at things. But the other thing I have to comment on is, oh yes, this is a belt of strength plus 10. I don't know how it works in Diablo, so don't quote me on this, but I don't think it's 1-to-1 in terms of carry weight to strength. You correct me if I'm wrong here.
I don't think so, but I mean, since he was testing an actual weight.
But see, that's the thing though, is in games like D&D and I'm assuming Diablo as well, your stats are proportional. So it's like, oh, you have 20 strength, you can carry 320 pounds in total. Oh, you have 10 strength, you can carry 180. You know? So it's if I'm getting plus 10 strength, is that plus 10 carry weight? Or is that plus 10 strength, so proportionally, I can now carry 200 more pounds?
We don't know.
Yeah,
because the author hasn't specified.
Because the author is worse than Rowling is when it comes to
also,
specification.
Bear in mind, author,
very easy to do.
In things like D&D, if you put on like a belt of giant strength, yes, that does make you stronger. But one of the things that happens is there's an immediate physical effect.
Hey, Atin.
Yeah.
Weird, you know, the way you guys are talking about what's it called, D&D systems, you make it seem like it's so logical. Wasn't there like this thing where there was a type of rod which would never move, like an immovable rod? You can
Yes,
just
the
leave it
immovable
in one
rod.
place and it would destroy the world?
No.
No.
Because
All the
the
immovable
world
rod
keeps
does-
moving, but the
only
rod
thing
never
that happens
does.
with the
No, I've never
immovable
heard of that.
rod is you put the immovable rod in a spot and it stays there. Doesn't matter if it's in the air, doesn't matter where it is, you say, here. And the movable rod will stay there unless 8,000 pounds or more is exerted on it.
But that's the thing, right? It doesn't move while the entirety of the universe does.
Okay, so it impacts the Earth and instantly the spell's broken.
Yes, but that's the thing. The Earth will not at any point of time exert an equivalent force of 8,000 on it because it'll be going through multiple layers. So it'll either dig itself pretty deep into the Earth before being destroyed, or if you leave it at the right angle, it'll destroy.
No, I don't think you
No.
understand. Because the rod is, under your supposition, immovable to even the gravity of the Earth and all that fun stuff, the Earth would exactly put way more than 8,000 pounds of pressure on it. Because it's not going to move. And the Earth is going to be moving at bajillion miles an hour.
Yeah, but the Earth is revolving, right? So the
Yeah,
Earth
but
is,
see,
it's
the
not
thing
responsible-
here, though, is that you're missing again. Weight times velocity equals force. If you have 1 pound, but that pound is moving at 200 million miles an hour, you have 200 million pounds of force.
Yeah, but then again, that doesn't make sense because you also have to think about what the opposite item, like whatever the fuck is impacting it, what is that thing's break point?
It doesn't
And what
matter.
force is
The
that item break?
spell's break point is 8,000 pounds of force.
But at the point of contact, the amount of force
At
it
the
will
point
also
of contact, there will be a singular point of contact in which 8,000 pounds of force will be delivered because a single speck moving at the speeds the Earth is moving will exert enough force to break the spell.
Yeah,
And then
sure,
it
but
just
that-
becomes a
that's
normal
equal
rod.
and opposite reactions. There will also
Except
be a
it
force.
doesn't because it's magic and fuck you.
Well, fuck you too, man. If it's magic, then of course it'll go through things.
No, if it's magic, it exactly goes as the spell says. 8,000
It
pounds of
just picks
force impacts the ground, it stops working. It is now a normal metal rod.
That's the most stupid thing I've heard in a while. If it's just a
Welcome to
normal metal-
D&D.
Exactly my point. I said there's a lot of stupid stuff in D&D, so don't take
I'm
it
not saying
seriously.
there's
That's what I was
stupid
saying.
stuff.
That was how I
I
began.
am not saying there's stupid stuff. At no point did I ever say that.
Wasn't there also a catapult in which you could line up 1,000 peons and make them pass a stone and make it into a catapult that'll destroy literally anything?
I mean,
I
dude,
don't
there is a lot of
remember that?
munching that takes place in D&D 3.5.
Bear in
there
mind,
is-
munchkining is not a result of a specific decision by the rule makers. It's a failure of the rules.
Yeah. Anyway, point being, this super specific munchkin position has no bearing at all as strength works in this manner. If you have 18 strength, you can carry X pounds. If you are wearing a belt of giant strength, you get +4 strength. You now have 22 strength. You can now carry X pounds.
Unless you're playing Dark Souls, in that case you have to level endurance.
Okay, well this isn't Dark Souls and it's not based on Dark Souls.
But what if I do?
That's my point, though. This whole thing is the author's like, random number! Oh, I can now lift 10 pounds. Okay,
Also,
well,
isn't in Diablo, isn't strength directly related to the amount of damage you do instead of the amount of shit you can pick up? Because there's an inventory space management in it. If
like
I
I said, I don't know. I've never played the
I'm
Diablo
actually
series.
pretty sure there is, because strength in Diablo is only related to the amount of damage you can do and the kind of weapons you can equip.
No, I believe that later Diablos have there is a physical number of slots.
Yeah,
There
there's an inventory.
There
So it's
is
kinda like-
also a carry weight which is affected by strength, if I
I'm
remember.
pretty sure it's not affected by strength, but I'm gonna check it out once. I think there's an actual you can increase your bag size, something like that. Strength Diablo. Is this
Okay.
related to Diablo 1, 2, or
This
3?
is Diablo 2.
This
I
is
believe.
Diablo 2.
2, right? All right.
Anyway. Character
Yep, just that.
attributes.
Uh-huh.
Diablo 2. Strength determines physical damage dealt. armor
Oh,
you're
wait,
able
there-
to equip.
it's a requirement to equip heavy
Yeah.
armor, but that's about it. It can equip. It helps you equip stuff and helps you do damage. Nothing based on inventory. You gotta be big and bulky to wear that big and bulky armor, but you don't need
Yep.
to be big and bulky to carry a lot of shit in your back.
That's it. The strength has no relevancy when it comes to carrying.
I mean, you guys are reading too much of Diablo. It's basically, oh yeah, I see thing, I'm gonna click on it till it dies.
But see, that's the thing though, is I'm reading too much into this because the author is using, this is a belt of plus 10 strength. Okay, what the fuck does that mean? You need
I
to
can do
define
more
these sort of things. If you're gonna say, this is a belt of plus 10 strength, I can now lift 10 more pounds? What? Why does it work like that? Because now that we know the Diablo 2 system, strength has no bearing on how much you can lift.
Exactly. This person is just trying to make a gamer fic. That's
Like-
literally it.
Without making it gamer.
Like,
Exactly,
this person
because-
is incompetently making a Diablo fan.
Mate. Think about it this way, right? There is a very negative stigma about gamer fics, which is everybody tries them and everybody fucks them up. So this guy, in a brilliant flash of wisdom, thought maybe if I use the Diablo fandom instead of telling them it's a gamer fic, more people will read it.
I mean, that's possible.
I mean, isn't that what Fairy Tail Dragon Slayer does in every fic of his, where he replaces Naruto with himself and subtly puts the Naruto tag there?
Yeah, basically. 407 follows. Fucking slay me, fam.
Told you, it worked. It even worked, so that's there.
Anyway, so blah 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 blah. She can eat food. She ate an easel. Blah blah. Blah blah. She killed the cat and ate it.
Story checks out.
Okay. Harry point of view. War was Harry's favorite game. Vernon was watching. The sheer number of miniatures marching to battle was impressive. Everything was now autonomous except for the general. They were representations of Harry and Dudley. They would destroy the opposite side. On Harry's side, he was confident in his dark army. Shamans were captains. They led his armored cavalry into battle. Small projectiles. The troops could be repaired. 100 captains, 10 cavalry each. I mean, use the fucking number. Like, actually write the numbers out for this sort of shit, my dude. The numbers running command, Death Lords, turn blah blah, enchanted, blah blah. Blah blah blah, it's super advanced miniatures. Plate armor from Lotus Scales.
Baby dragon.
Lotus was no longer allowed in battle. It was an unfair advantage, and Harley freely admitted their armies couldn't take her. Last time, space
so here's my thing. If they've recognized that the scales are super useful, why are they wasting them on miniature armor?
Because dumb shit, my dude.
Well,
Like-
it's not like they're a finite resource, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, I don't
think
know.
about like hair.
Yeah, but
Maybe
I
it
know
goes
they're not a
back.
finite resource, but like you could still do way more useful stuff with them.
Like make
But what if
actual
they
armor?
need the crafting level to do that?
They need to up the crafting level.
Okay,
it's
but
their
then you
crafting.
sell the super valuable materials to a vendor.
But aren't they the only ones who are Diabloist?
Yes, indeed.
Like-
They're the only ones affected by the Diablos.
Yeah.
Anyway, blah blah blah. Paladin army of paladins. They were all paladin-y and glowing and holy, and blah blah blah. Holy glowing and wings made of gold glow. Blah blah blah. Smelted scales. Okay. Blah blah. Weak point. Blah blah. Utter chaos. With every knight Dudley took out, they were resurrected. Cavalry on double side, built to kill the horses. Holy warriors, death lords. Blah, blah, blah. They're all fighting. The author's using fucking numbers again for low-ass numbers because he's dumb and doesn't know how to write. Blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
Harry's avatar was walking death as he resurrected and killed everything. It was a curse leveled on his sword staff. By the time their avatars met up, over 1,500 of their troops were fighting on Harry's side as undead. The 5 holy warriors worked as a shield. Their clamors.
Oh, good. Now they've created sentient life. This can't possibly end poorly.
Light element blades sliced through frozen undead warriors. Jesus. Harry's avatar speared a holy warrior, turning into a undead. Instead of shedding its weapons and armors, it kept them and turned on its fellow holy warriors, gaining a kill. Dudley's avatar bisected it. This is so dumb. Why the fuck do we care about this?
Why did you remove the banner? I still don't know why you removed the banner.
Because it's not edgy. It's just dumb.
Have you read this bit? It's the guy trying to be edgy but failing at being edgy. It's that bad.
Really? I'm too busy laughing my ass off at this.
Harry Potter's avatar was dead.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but like in this context, it makes some sense.
Blah blah
Because,
blah blah blah.
like,
Short staff. Blah blah.
You're a Diablo, Harry.
Harry dropped his sword staff and unsheathed the long sword. He had to forge it using puppets. Jesus fucking.
Excuse me.
Jesus fuck. In what? His puppet-sized forge? Sparks.
If they could create artificial life, I bet you they made artificially tiny forges.
Imagine those things in like Sesame Street coming together to forge like a short sword.
It's just Harry's armies charged Dudley's, and just as they were about to give the killing blows to each other, Petunia arrived. Boys, it's time for dinner. Their battle stopped. Their avatars dropped. They repaired their armies and moved to dinner. It was steak night.
Phenomena. Phenomena.
I understand, like, as the author's note says, I understand what he's doing here. He's trying to be like, oh, look, they're developing their powers by doing these miniature battles. It's like, okay, but we don't need to read about them every time. I personally don't find them interesting. Does anyone here find them interesting?
I don't.
That's a wrap, yo.
Yeah. They're not interesting at all. But I will queue up chapter 5 for next Tuesday.
Wrap.
Hooray.
Electric Boogaloo. Alrighty, so that's a wrap. Parappa the Rapper. Thank you all for joining me today and lasting until this far in. If you just joined recently, wow, you missed some stuff. Anyway, so you should tell everyone to watch with you, because the more people that watch, the more fun we have and the less shit thick we read. And everyone wins. So, tell people. Watch more of this stuff. Every Tuesday and Friday we'll be here, and I will always say this. At 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This will be on live, or you can find it on YouTube archived if that's more of your flow. Anyway, 1 week late, of course, because gotta keep it exclusive for a little bit. Anyway, see you all next time on Fanfiction Contempt 9001. And remember, there's always more and it always gets worse.